Hello everyone, Captain Shiver here. Thanks for joining me today. I figured tonight I'd give a quick guide, 5 easy steps on how to use the auction house to your advantage, as well as maybe perhaps get your gold stores up a little bit before Shadowlands. So let's get started. The first step is knowing your server, knowing the market on your server. Every server seems to be a little bit different. For the most part, I've always been on Whisperwind, and I'm quite used to this server. The new auction tool I quite like. I know there's quite a bit of criticism around how the tool works, but I actually enjoy it quite a bit. And I've stopped using any mods or add-ons like Auctioneer, so I quite enjoy it. It's also very critical to know the timing of your expansion that you're in. So for instance, heirlooms might be more popular at the beginning of an expansion or with new major patch releases with new gear. Whereas at the end, like in BFA right now, armor and weapons are actually not doing that well. For instance, if I filter for uncollected only in search, some of the items will be going for quite a bit, but keep in mind these are top tier pieces of gear. And as you go down the list, if we turn the eye level around here and you're looking for more just heirloom gear, it becomes quite a bit less. Earlier on in the expansion, a lot of these items were selling for a lot higher. Some of these items you can buy from vendors, and it looks like someone's reposting them, so that might be an option too. If no one's taking advantage of that on your server, you can purchase items if you have a tailor. I believe some of these shirts are actually just purchased down the walk from me here in Borlis. If you walk over to the tailor shirt vendor, he's selling them for 47. 26, a bunch of different values here, and it looks like someone's posting them on the auction house to make a bit of a profit. That's an option, you can use that. So after knowing your market, there's a few options that are quite simple, and the first one we'll look at is just farming hot mats on your current server, current expansion. So right now the corrupted zone fish are quite popular. They'll net you a good income. Herb mining has for a long time been a very common farming method, and then you post those items on whatever you farm on auction house. That's been quite popular, and then you can pair that with fishing and get a lot done in one shot. Kind of tying into that, the third key thing in my mind, the third item is professions. So I find that you can kind of lump them into good and bad. There's not very many bad ones actually, but the good ones in my mind are alchemy, enchanting, jewel crafting, and engineering, and possibly inscription. And the only reason I say possibly inscription is because I don't have a high level inscriptor, so I can't really speak to that. The bad ones are blacksmithing and leatherworking and tailoring. The reason I say that is the most valuable items in those tiers are their armor, and as soon as you get past the first patch in an expansion, usually that armor is not worth very much. So for instance, if we do a quick search on the armor here and go by eye level, so here we got a bunch of the blacksmithing gear that you can make, and it's selling for 1,000, 2,000, which, you know, if you farm the mats, spend the time farming, it may make you a bit of money, but if you were to purchase the mats, you're probably not going to be getting a whole lot. Some of the patterns you have to do quite a bit of work to unlock as well. So like here, some of these are going for 300, 700, not really worth your time. Alchemy has always been good. You can create potions for raids. Enchanting, everyone's going to, as they upgrade gear, need new enchants, so that one's always been popular. Jewel crafting, same thing with sockets. And engineering, the reason I have this on the list, it's not quite as good with the consumables, but the mount creation is quite popular. You can create, I believe for the last few expansions, there's always been some mounts that you can create. Now the same can be said for tailoring. You can create the magic carpets, but the difference is in tailoring you have to be a tailor to be able to use the magic carpets, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just open these up here, and yeah, the flying carpet requires northern tailoring. Same thing with the magnificent flying carpet. So that's a bit unfortunate. There's only the creeping carpet that doesn't require you to be. Oh no, you do. It requires Draenor tailoring. Whereas if you go to engineering, Mech Engineer's chopper does not require that you are an engineer to use, and most of the mounts, if not all of them, are like that. Another thing the engineer is good for is creating toys. So for instance, right now, just a quick example, my engineer, and I have a couple of toys in my bag that I've created just to sell. So you farm them. This is actually a low price on my server for this particular toy. Farm those mats and post them, or find the mats for cheap on auction house. This one's almost 7,000, 6,400 gold. That's another item that you can create, and for those collectors out there, they'll want to go after those toys. So another real benefit to the engineer is that you get auctioneers in places you don't with any other profession, because the engineer will have auctioneers at their trainers in certain cities. So I'm in Borderless right now. I have an auctioneer right here. The only other way to get an auctioneer in Borderless would be to have the Brontosaur mount. So that's another benefit that's quite nice. The fourth thing is flipping. So this is one that I've had mixed results in the past. I've been guilty of jumping the gun on certain things, thinking that the market was hot, and then getting stuck with a bunch of garbage. So this is quite critical that you do your research on certain things. So you can buy anything from gems, and then you can cut those if you got a jewel crafter and resell them if that has a good margin on that. You can do that with weapons and armor if you find something that's really underpriced. I have found that sometimes you'll get lucky if you go to the pets and just do a quick search and then go through the blue items. For instance, Void Scar Beetle right now 28 silver, but there's 23 of them, so you know you're not gonna make a huge buck on that unless maybe you buy all these out and resell them. But you know, that's not quite a really good, that's not that good of a profit margin right now. The level 25 is severely overpriced. I find the average pet on my server that's level 25 goes for around 10,000. I have been lucky here recently. I found 2 level 25 pets that were 500 gold, so I bought those up, reposted them, then you can sell them even if you're selling them for 5,000, which is still fairly cheap on this market. You're going to make a lot of money. The other item is mounts. So you go to miscellaneous and just click on mounts, do a quick search, recipes, trade goods, that kind of thing, if you can find a good market for it. Another good one to check out is herbs, and see if someone's underposted for whatever reason, or if you know of a common herb that everyone's using for leveling or certain things, then you can go buy it up and repost for a higher price. And then the last item I already kind of discussed, was the engineering. I'm a bit biased towards this one. I really enjoy being an engineer. In order to make your life a little bit easier for auctioning, create a character that makes your life easier. So I'm an engineer on this character. I don't do a lot of questing and leveling and that kind of thing with this character. It is level 120 right now, but I will use it for storage. So I have a whole bunch of items on this character here that I'm using that's for sale, and all my alts I will send everything over and load this character up with items and then use it to post all my auction house stuff. Anything that has a poor market at the time, I'll throw into my reagent bank or one of my bags here and wait for the market to recover. Because it's an engineer, I'm also able to do all of this within Borderless without having to run around, farm for something, or go find something out quickly. I can portal, but those are more preference things. It does help just to get around quickly and have everything available. And those are the 5 tips for this video. I appreciate everyone joining me, and if you liked what you saw, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Thank you very much, everyone.